Good day, gentlemen. I'm making this video for you if you found the woman you want to spend your life with, but you're afraid of giving too much to her because you've experienced women either using you and your love and your kindness or losing attraction and respect for you because you gave too much. Because guess what? I've been that guy myself. And unlike all these red pill man children on the internet who are really just so afraid of giving their love to a woman, I've actually overcome this. And now I'm in a deeply fulfilling, peaceful, passionate relationship with a great woman who I want to spend my life with, and she wants to spend her life with me. And guess what? We didn't just start dating yesterday. We've actually been together for over 7.5 years. So I want you to listen very closely to these 6, maybe unconventional lessons that I'll share with you in this video. Lessons that no marriage counselor or therapist will ever give you. Lessons that will actually help you overcome this fear of giving too much, and with that, build the thriving relationship you truly want. Let's jump right in. Lesson 1. If you lose a woman by making her feel loved, what does that tell you about her? One simple thing: that she is not ready for that level of love and depth. And that's okay. Because maybe she was hurt in the past. Maybe her experience showed her that she shouldn't trust love. Maybe for her it feels like this is too good to be true. Maybe she thinks that you're doing it to try to get something from her because that was always her experience. Either way, it doesn't matter too much where this is coming from. What matters is it usually doesn't say much about you. Brother, maybe you genuinely didn't do anything wrong. And of course, you're someone who always takes responsibility. You always want to know what you can do to become better. And I'll give you more advice on that in a second in the other lessons. But for now, let's focus on this because, brother, sometimes things are genuinely just not in your control and you have to be okay with that. Just because you had bad experiences with certain women doesn't mean that this will happen with every woman. Just because apples can rot doesn't mean you shouldn't eat apples, right? And so what happens for a lot of people, women and men, is when they struggle to accept love, to actually trust love, that is usually because they aren't used to getting treated with love. Maybe their parents or previous partners didn't treat them with stability and kindness and love and care. And these experiences can quickly merge into the voice in their own head that tells them they don't deserve love, that tells them this feels wrong, this feels too good to be true. I've actually struggled with this myself, to be fair. Early on in this relationship, when she would take care of me when I was ill, for example, it would feel wrong. It would feel like she's doing this to get something from me, like she's, I don't know, trying to get something from me. Like it would feel too good to be true, when in reality, this is just her nature. She is extremely caring, but I didn't trust that. Brother, you need to understand that people who weren't used to receiving this stable sense of love, they unconsciously believe that love is a trap. It feels too good to be true for them. And that's why they lose attraction over time, because they close themselves off, because they think they need to protect themselves. And of course, there is something to be said about hypergamy, women dating up and women losing attraction because they feel like they can walk all over their man. And that leads me to lesson number 2, because there is something to this. If you feel like she will use you when you give more love to her, that probably says more about you than it does about her. And obviously, I'm not talking to the guy who's in a toxic relationship and he knows he should break up, but he's too scared to do it. If you're that guy, you know what to do. But if you have obvious evidence that she's a great woman and you're still afraid that she will use you or lose attraction to you if you give more love to her, then brother, you need to work on yourself. I'm not shaming you here. I've actually been that guy myself, especially after our honeymoon phase. I was very scared of losing her. And it wasn't actually just fear of giving too much or fear in general. It was what people call anxious attachment. And if you struggle with this, then I've made many episodes on that already. You'll find them on my channel. But a big part of this was this voice in my head that told me, if I don't hold back my love, if I openly give my love to her, she will leave me. Can you see how crazy that sounds when I say it like that? And of course, a deeply insecure woman who is used to chasing after guys to get the love that she wants, she might feel deeply attracted to a guy like that. But is that what you want? Manipulating an insecure woman? Is that how you want to spend your life? I don't think so. And this leads me to lesson number 3. Maybe in your mind, relationships are a zero-sum game, meaning if she wins, you've lost, and the other way around. In reality, relationships are an exponential game. The more you give to the right woman, the more she has the ability to give back more to you. Let me explain. Let's say a man and a woman are in a relationship and they're both scared of giving too much without really getting anything back. Well, what happens if one of them takes the lead and starts to give more love to the other person without pressuring the other person to give anything back? Well, we all know what happens. Either the other person feels like this is a trap because they were hurt so many times in the past and they haven't done the inner work to heal those wounds and they leave because they feel it's a trap, or they feel more loved and receive that love, and because of that love, they're able to open themselves up more and give more love back. Completely logical, right? In reality, this helps you figure out whether she is a good woman for you and for how you want to be in a relationship and for your life or not. And one important detail here is this: if you give to get something from her, she will never really be able to give anything back to you. Because as humans, we have this intuitive sense. We know when someone's being nice to us, being kind to us, to get something back. Like, it's that guy from back in school who you had barely any contact for the last 6 years with, and then he reaches out and he's so kind, and then you find out he's selling insurance or some bullshit. Or it's that woman who's just a gold digger, right? As humans, we have this intuitive sense. We know when someone is giving to get something from us. So make sure that you do the inner work that enables you to give to her without pressuring her, but simply that you're giving to give, not to get. Because unfortunately, the exponential aspect of relationships goes both ways. It's either an upward spiral or a downward spiral. Either you trigger each other's wounds and you only make it worse, or you help each other heal those internal wounds, which is what me and my girl have done. On a day-to-day basis, this means that either you both hold back your love out of fear of giving too much or out of fear of the other person using you, right? And with that, both of you just feel less and less loved over time. So again, downward spiral, you give less and less love, or you freely give your love without any expectations. And I'll talk about that more in a second. Without any expectations, you freely give your love, and she does the same. And through that, you help each other heal those internal wounds. And over time, you break down both of your walls, and with that, make it easier for both of you to give more love. Upward spiral. And this leads me to lesson number 4. Of course, there are people who will use your love, who will manipulate you. Narcissists exist, both men and women, right? Sociopaths exist. But at the end of the day, if you respect yourself enough and you have the skills to set healthy boundaries with her, and you are able to tell her a loving no when she asks something of you that you don't want to do, then you will not have any trouble getting caught up there. But if you are insecure yourself and you struggle to say no and you struggle to set healthy boundaries, then you might get caught up there. Your own internal wounds and your childhood conditioning might sabotage you here. They might lead you to dating the exact people that you consciously know you should absolutely not be dating. Or they might lead you to sabotage a completely healthy and good relationship that you're in right now. And by the way, I've made an entire video on that already, how to stop sabotaging a healthy relationship. I'll put it in the video description for you so you can go check it out after this video. For now, please understand that when it comes to giving your love, the opposite of crazy is still crazy. Giving your love carelessly is crazy. Not giving your love at all and holding back actively is also crazy. You have to learn to become different without becoming the opposite. I always say this to my clients: give her as much as you can, but not more. Don't sacrifice your goals, your hobbies, your friendships, and yourself for a relationship. Because firstly, you'll never be fulfilled in that relationship because it ruins every other part of your life. But secondly, that relationship won't last anyway because she can't trust a man like that. Look, if you never learn to say no to her, if you never say no, how would she know that your yes is honest? She knows that you're lying. She knows that you're scared, and that's why you say yes so often. If you're editing yourself into who you think she wants you to be, then brother, let me ask you this. Why would you change yourself for a woman who doesn't support who you are? Maybe she is very hot. Maybe she plays hard to get. But brother, if you have to change yourself for her to stay with you, then will she ever be able to love you the way that you want to be loved? I'll only say this once. A big part of what makes a healthy relationship is not just the permission from each other to be who you both want to be, but the active encouragement of that. And this leads me to lesson number 5, and I'll make this quick. What's the worst thing that could happen if you freely give your love to her? Well, the worst thing that could happen is that she uses your love, or she loses attraction to you and leaves you. Well, is that really so bad? Because really what happened there is she just shows you that she is not someone you should be with. I don't think that's that bad. And also, you stayed in integrity. You gave the love that you wanted to give instead of changing yourself or downplaying how much love you want to give. So you didn't lose yourself. And that's more important. In my opinion, this guy Jed Franson said it best. He said, anything you lose by being real is fake. And this applies to relationships. But it doesn't make it less scary. I know, I've been there. This is an explanation for why so many people end up in unhealthy relationships, right? Because sometimes the truth, not knowing the truth, is more comfortable than actually knowing the truth. And still, this is an explanation. But it's not an excuse to become one of those people. It's not an excuse to hold back your love. And realistically, if you've been with her for some time now, you won't lose her by giving her your love. There's a reason why you were attracted to each other in the first place, and there is a reason why you stuck together for such a long time. So give her the opportunity to show you that she is the woman that you should be with. There's a very powerful principle for relationships in what's called non-violent communication. Bit of a corny title, I know, but this changed my life forever. Basically, what happens if you shout at her? Well, no matter how much of a healthy and loving and caring woman she is, she will most likely shout back. But what happens if you speak to her in a loving way? Not in a people pleaser, nice guy kind of way, but in a calm and mature way. Well, if you do that, you give her the opportunity to reply in the same exact way. Meaning, you can only really figure out whether she's a great woman by being a great man yourself first. If you're an asshole, she will be one too, even if that's not her personality, not her nature. And this also applies to holding back your love versus freely giving it. If you hold your love back, she will too. If you freely give your love, it doesn't mean that she will automatically do it as well, but it means that you give her the opportunity to do it as well. And if she doesn't give her love over a long period of time, then you know what to do. You should probably move on from this relationship. But this rarely ever happens. In 99% of the cases, this does not happen because either you trigger each other's wounds or you heal each other's wounds. And now we've arrived at lesson 6, which is by far the most valuable, most important lesson in this entire video, because I always keep the most important lessons to the end of these videos for guys like you who are actually fully committed to actually working on themselves and actually building the relationship they truly want. So here we go. Let me be very clear. The moment you stop taking relationship advice from hurt red pill man children on the internet who made you so scared that she will cheat on you, but don't even have the relationship that you truly want, and instead you start looking at real people with real relationships, you will very quickly realize that the mature feminine wants to be cherished, not pleased, but cherished. Men who say that you should hold back your love are firstly hurt, and secondly, they don't understand the feminine. David Deida is one of the most, if not the most, knowledgeable man alive on the masculine and the feminine. And he wrote, let me read this out to you here. I have this on my phone here. There we go. He said, the feminine always seems chaotic and complicated from the perspective of the masculine. And he also said, practice love instead of trying to bring an end to the quality that bothers you. In every single area that I've ever done this in with my girl, who I've been with for over 7 years, this worked. Whether it was about sex or in the middle of a fight, it always connected us more deeply and led to our relationship and our sex life thriving more. But me holding my love back and hoping for her to run after me and apologize and learn her lesson, that has never worked. It has only ever divided us. But hey, maybe I'm just lucky, right? Maybe I just found a great woman and for you this is all different. Well, sure, yeah. If you want to use that as an excuse to not do what I'm about to tell you, then sure, go ahead. But what's sabotaging you here, just to call you out here, what's sabotaging you here is that exact fear this entire episode was based on. This fear of giving too much and her then losing attraction or using your love. There's a massive bird flying by right now. I hope he flies into image here. This would be very cool. Nah, he probably doesn't. Oh man. Fucking majestic. Big ass bird. It's not an eagle. I know birds quite well. It's a buzzard. Is that the English word? I don't know. Very cool. Anyway, of course, don't crawl to her on your knees and people please her. If you've watched this entire episode, you know the difference between being nice and being kind. So, I want to give you a metaphor that I've come up with years ago that will help you love your woman in the right way. Just because a flower doesn't bloom every day, that does not mean that you don't water it every day. Because if you only water the flower when it's blooming, then it will never bloom again. That flower is your woman. Now, I've mentioned one thing multiple times throughout this episode. Maybe you've noticed it. Your fear of giving too much is sabotaging your relationship from the inside out. And maybe you've noticed yourself in the past sabotaging love or relationships, or maybe even right now. The farmer whose field I'm on right now just drove by with his tractor and he just smiled at me and waved at me. He's so kind, man. Anyway, I struggled with this myself heavily in the past, with sabotaging relationships. And if I hadn't overcome this, I would definitely not be in the fulfilling and peaceful and passionate relationship, 7-year relationship, I should say, that I'm in right now. But luckily for you, because I've overcome this, I was recently able to film an entire episode on how to stop sabotaging relationships. You can go watch that right now, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.